I'd like you to imagine something for a second. Imagine that you're a musician working on a new piece. And as you work on this piece, you're hoping to get it concert ready. You want to play in front of a large audience. And so you practice for a few days, few weeks, and a little bit of the song is starting to come along. You can play 50% of it, and then 60% of it, and 80% of it. But there are still these portions of the song that are quite technical, that you struggle with, that you haven't been able to master yet. And so you continue to stay at it, you're practicing for months, and again, you're making progress, but still there are these certain portions that are quite difficult. And at this point, let's say you've been practicing 4, 5, 6 months, and you still have this little section within the song that is giving you trouble. Now, if you were to take a step back and look at your progress at this point, you would say, well, at the beginning, I couldn't play this song in front of an audience, I couldn't play it at a concert, and even now, after 6 months of effort, I still can't play it at a concert. So in some sense, reality hasn't changed. And this can be a really frustrating place to be, and it happens all the time with different habits and behaviors. It's not just with music, right? We work and work and work, and then we still can't get to the final result that we want to get to, which in this case is playing in front of a concert audience. But there's something that's happening throughout this process, right? You're building what I call the plateau of latent potential. You're building up this ability, this energy, this progress that needs to be released. And so finally, one day while you're practicing, you master that last little technical section. And by mastering the last 1% of the song, you open up the whole rest of it, right? The whole bottleneck opens up and you're able to master it all and play it in front of an audience. And this idea that progress often looks like nothing, it looks like reality has not changed because for 6 months you were working and suddenly in one day you jumped up to the next plateau and you had this new song that you were able to play in front of a concert. And this idea that the plateau of latent potential is somewhere where you not just have to spend some time, but actually spend a significant amount of time, I think is something that can mess with our minds a little bit, and we often don't consider how important it is to realize that the reality may not change even though you continue to work for quite a long time. And George Leonard, who's an Aikido master and a master of martial arts, has a great quote where he says, "To learn anything significant, to have any lasting change produced in yourself, you must be willing to spend the majority of your time on the plateau." In other words, you must be able to spend the majority of your time hammering away at the same stone day after day, time after time, even though the rock looks exactly the same, when only on the 100th blow it breaks free, right? And so this concept of building latent potential it's kind of like imagining that you have an ice cube on the table, right? You walk into a room, it's cold, you can see your breath, it's 26, 27 degrees. Goes up to 28, nothing happens, the ice cube's still there. 29, 30, 31, again, the ice cube's still there. And then you get to 32 degrees and all of a sudden the ice cube melts. There's this, phase transition. You moved up 1 degree, no different than any of the degrees that came before it, except everything changes. And this is a similar structure, similar pattern that you see that happens with habits, right? You make one small shift in your environment, you make one small shift in your culture, you make one small shift in the way that you measure yourself, you make another small shift to bring the difficulty of the habit down, and it doesn't seem to be working, and then suddenly one more small adjustment and everything falls into place, and you seem to be able to stick with the habit with ease. And so this idea that you're going to be spending a lot of time on the plateau of latent potential, I want you to hold on to that philosophy and that concept as we progress throughout the course, because that level of consistency and mental toughness and grit is going to be essential for making any habit stick over the long run.